mynews.studio.
Underwater borders are disappearing as countries edge closer to a landmark agreement to safeguard half the planet. The question is, can we finally manage the high seas in a coordinated way?
Today's date is June 23, 2025. At the UN Ocean Conference in Nice, 18 more countries just ratified the High Seas Treaty. That brings the total to 49, so only 11 left before it becomes official. But why is this significant?
A lot of people don't realize that the high seas make up almost half of our planet's surface. Up until now, these waters have been largely unregulated. This treaty, officially called the Agreement on Biodiversity Beyond National Jurisdiction, is the first time there's a legally binding framework for these areas.
And this didn't just happen overnight. Negotiations started more than 20 years ago. Why the sudden push now?
It's taken coordinated action. The European Union, Pacific Island nations, Caribbean states, and several African countries have all increased their efforts. There's finally a sense of alignment globally. Even the UN Secretary General described it as a tidal wave of hope.
Just to clarify, what actually happens when the treaty gets those last 11 ratifications?
Once 60 countries ratify, there's a 120-day waiting period. After that, the treaty becomes binding international law. It allows for the creation of marine protected areas, also known as MPAs, on the high seas. In these zones, things like fishing, deep-sea mining, and even geoengineering could be restricted or banned.
Who makes those decisions? Is it the usual powerful nations deciding, or does everyone have a say?
That's important. No single country decides. All countries that have ratified the treaty meet at conferences of parties, COPs, to discuss and approve which ocean areas get protected. This system is designed to balance interests and prevent dominance by a few.
And the first COP, does that have to happen within a year after the treaty takes effect?
Yes, that's right. At that first meeting, they'll set out how these protected areas are chosen, managed, and reviewed. There's also a plan for handling disagreements, like using international mediation or courts if countries can't resolve things themselves.
But what about activities like fishing or mining? How does the treaty make sure there's a balance between protecting nature and allowing economic development?
Every major activity has to go through an environmental impact assessment under agreed standards. The idea is that development and biodiversity protection should support each other, not compete. Plus, there's funding and support for countries to build capacity and access technology, like the EU's €40 million Global Ocean Program.
But for people who live far from the ocean, why does this matter?
The high seas help regulate climate, sustain fisheries, and affect food security for billions of people. Right now, only about 1% of these waters are protected. This treaty is a chance to halt biodiversity loss and stabilize vital systems that affect everyone.
So it's not just about ocean wildlife. It's about climate, food, and future resources for all of us.
Exactly. And with the global goal to protect 30% of land and sea by 2030, the so-called 30 by 30, this treaty is fundamental.
So the next move is clear. Get those last 11 ratifications and start the countdown.
We're closer than ever to finally having agreed rules for the global commons.
Underwater borders are about to become a reality, and so are the responsibilities that come with them.
Thanks for tuning in. Today, we explored the recent surge in high seas treaty ratifications, what the treaty could mean for marine protection, the upcoming multilateral process, and why it matters to everyone.
We'll keep following the final ratifications and what they mean for global ocean management. Stay with us.
Thank you for listening. This episode was produced by mynews.studio. You can try it now for free.